Welcome to an incredible journey with internationally renowned lawyer of attraction, Paula Casey. Applying the skills gained over 40 years of practicing law, Paula uses facts, logic, and science to prove the validity of the law of attraction. Join Paula each week as she explores unique concepts, allowing you to rediscover the wisdom of the ancient masters, all while weaving in the science that proves magic really does happen. If you yearn for a life change or want to rediscover your passion, then share the path with Paula and begin to love your journey every step of the way.
Hello, and welcome to the Law of Attraction Radio Network. My name is Paula Casey, and I am the Lawyer of Attraction. And I get to be your host for the next hour for my program, The Lawyer of Attraction. I am so excited about today's topic, and I wanted to share it with you. One of the things that I teach in my program, Your Outrageous Life, is the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is a term that was coined by Joseph Campbell in the mid-1950s. He wrote this amazing book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And on the back of it, George Lucas of Star Wars fame said, "In the 3 decades since I discovered the hero with a thousand faces, it has continued to fascinate and inspire me. Joseph Campbell peers through centuries and shows us that we are all connected by a basic need to hear stories and understand ourselves. As a book, it is wonderful to read. As illumination into the human condition, it is a revelation." What I want to talk to you today about is that you are the hero in your own story. You are the star of your life. But so many times we think we are a bit player or we have a supporting role. We are supporting our spouse or our children. We need to grasp the concept that we are on this hero's journey and how important it is to become aware of that, to become aware of the options that we have on this journey, to become aware of how brave we are to go on this journey and actually claim that stardom of our own lives. I teach this in my program, and when I went back to listen to the lesson that I teach this to be inspired, what I was inspired to do was actually share this lesson with you. Because it's empowering, it's exciting, it's inspiring, and I want to share with you the flavor that my program, Your Outrageous Life, has. I taught it in person, and when I taught it in person, we recorded it, so you're going to hear some background maybe of some other people, but I wanted to share one of the lessons that I teach in my program, and this one is the hero's journey. My lessons are about an hour. I'm going to divide this into 2 different programs. We're going to listen to the first half an hour, and then I want you to listen to some of my students who have taken my class and who realize how powerful this information is. And remember, I have license to brag because none of this information is mine. There's some insights that I have been able to glean. This information, this law of attraction information, this natural laws of the universe information, it is so powerful when you become aware of it and learn how to use it to your advantage. So we're going to go on a different kind of a journey today. We are going to listen to the first part of a lesson that I give in my program, Your Outrageous Life. And then we're going to take a very short break. And then I want you to actually listen to one of my students who has taken my programs probably 4 or 5 times. And it's not because she didn't pass. It is because the more you take these programs, the more you understand it. You're at a higher level. You understand it at a different level. You understand it because you're vibrating at a different level. So you understand it in a different way. So I want to welcome you to a lesson in my program on how I'm teaching, and I will be right back. After you listen to the lesson, I will be right back and explain a few more things, and then I want you to hear from one of my students. So hang on, because this is going to be quite a ride. Thanks. Welcome back to Your Outrageous Life. Welcome to Lesson 7. And this is called The Glorious G's as we continue on our alliteration. So today we are going to talk about getting the bigger picture, grasping a new belief, generating a new journey. We're going to be grateful to be, go backwards, and grow a new story. Before we get into this, I just want to tell you, if you all want to leave now, you can. Because all the information that we've had in the first 8 chapters, you can take and you can implement in your life, and you can listen to it over and over again, and it's not going to be too outrageous. But since this is called Your Outrageous Life, we're going to get into that part. So everything we've talked about is not going to be, has not been too far out of your belief system. But now remember, a belief is just a thought that we keep thinking. And it's just our upbringing, our conditioning, what we have been taught. So I want everybody to kind of keep an open mind when we're going to talk. This is my inspirational chapters. All the other chapters I wrote based on past classes I've taught and classes I've taken and books that I've read, and there was a chronology to them, and they were already organized in my brain. And these chapters, I'm telling you, they came out of nowhere. They came out of the zero point field, so we're going to talk about them. So understand, I just want you to take these things with a grain of salt. You may not grasp them, you may not resonate with them, they may not be where you are, they may not be where you ever are. But I want you to kind of keep an open mind when we talk about that. So Chardin said, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spirits having a human experience. Has everybody heard that before? So, you know, it's not that we're human beings and every now and then we get this woo spiritual thing. We are spiritual beings in a human body for 80 or so years. You know, and this is like a shell. This is like a car that we bought, and sooner or later we're going to be trading it in. So Jeremiah 1:5, and I love this from the Bible, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. Okay? And then my quote that my husband just yelled at me for saying it's mine. I've heard it before. I am just sharing it. This isn't my first rodeo. We're going to talk about why I absolutely know that this stuff is true. So I want you to get a bigger picture of where we're coming from. So 95% of the people in the world believe in a higher power. Different religions, but a higher power. Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World in the 20th century, he coined a phrase called the perennial philosophy. And he said, every religion that he's ever looked at has 3 things in common. And the 3 things are, everybody believes in a higher power. Everybody believes we are all connected to this higher power in some way. And the third one is this higher power is eternal. So every religion that you can get to breaks down to those three concepts. So let's put those together. 95% of the people believe in a higher power, and that higher power is defined as it exists, we are connected to it, and it is eternal. Let's take a big deep breath and go down the rabbit hole, okay? So Journey of the Souls, it's in the book. He's an MD, he has a PhD in psychology, he's a master hypnotist, and I think it's Dr. Michael Young, but I'll check on that, it's in the book. He started hypnotizing people as a therapy. And when you're in the hypnotic state, you cannot lie. When they get you to that deep state, you cannot lie. So he started taking people back further in their lifetimes. Why do you have a migraine? Further in their lifetimes. Until he realized he could take them back before they were born. And he could take them back before they were in a body. He could also take them back to prior lives. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of people. And they would take very detailed notes of these prior lives. And when these people came out of hypnosis, they didn't remember any of it. And after they did research, almost to a T, all the information that these people provided for their prior lives turned out to be true. And there was no way that they could know that. The Search for Bridie Murphy is probably the very first one a psychologist ever penned. And they took this lady, she had horrible migraines. They tried everything. She was debilitated. And they took her back, and they finally got her back saying she was from Ireland in the 16th century. Her name, when she was born, when she died, her parents were, They go back there. There's a gravestone that has all of that. Nobody's been in the cemetery for years. There's no way they could have known this. So I want you to at least open your mind that if you don't believe in reincarnation, could you possibly believe that we existed before we came down here as a spiritual form, before we came down here as a human form? The early church believed it. They took it out in the 3rd century. Jesus said to John that John the Baptist was the reincarnated Elijah. And there are many church fathers in the 1st and 2nd and 3rd century that believed in reincarnation. It was taken out in the Constantinople period on the whole thing. So I want you to at least think before we go to the next depth of the rabbit hole. Can you at least believe that maybe you're conscious before this lifetime? Maybe not that you were in another body, but that you were conscious before your lifetime. And can you grasp the thought that eternal spirits are by definition eternal? So if we are eternal spirits, we are by definition eternal. And eternal is defined as it has no beginning or end. So we didn't become eternal on February 16th, 1953 when I was born. Eternity is there's no beginning or end. And if we're attached to something that's an eternal being and we're attached to that, I want you to at least start thinking about that. I wanted to share with you this is not my first rodeo story. So when I was little, we moved from this house when I was 3. I can remember laying in my crib and we had cowboy and Indian wallpaper, which my mother said I was out of that crib before I was 2. And I remember putting my hand in front of my face not saying, because I didn't know words, the concept of I'm conscious again. And my hand is moving really slow because I'm probably used to going with the angels. And I remember that as I remember anything yesterday. The concept of consciousness again. And how's a little one supposed to know that? So it has been an anchor and a beacon to me my whole life. An anchor that I know that there's something bigger, and a beacon that I know that there's a lot more than we can see that's going on. Remember, a belief is just a thought we keep thinking. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. The world is not flat. Men can fly. It's just a belief that we have been taught. So let's kind of jump to another thing. Assuming you believe that you were an eternal being and that you were at least conscious before you came down here, we're going to talk about free will. So there's an inherent perception of free will in all religions, because the theory is if you don't have free will, you can't choose right or wrong, right? You can't choose whether to love the deity, right? So there's a freedom, there's a free will. I tried to find quotes in the Bible and the Quran and the Torah that actually said free will. And I could not find any. There's a quote in the Bible that says that if you're with the Lord loves freedom, you will always have the freedom that you want. But there is an inherent perception of free will, that everybody has free will. And that's been taught to us from the very beginning. So I want you to think about this. What if free will didn't just start in this lifetime? Because how can you have free will if you're born in a ghetto in India? I mean, what kind of freedom, what could you choose with that? What if free will started prior to this lifetime? You don't have to believe in reincarnation, but perhaps you could believe that you were consciousness prior to this lifetime. What if it started then? Wouldn't that make it fairer or the bigger picture? What if we had a choice on when and where we should be able to go? What if we get to exercise free will from a perspective we haven't ever been able to imagine before? Remember, you can only go up a little bit. You can only believe something a little bit more than you believed before. But we're a little higher up on the mountain now than we were before. And so we're going to instill a new belief in that. Trial by Existence by Robert Frost. I literally just coincidentally found this. Wink, wink. I mean, I did. I don't even know why I started reading this whole thing. But it talks about even the bravest that are slain shall not disassemble their surprise, on waking to find valor reign, even as on earth in paradise.
The brave are slain. They wake up, they're surprised that they're in paradise, and to find that the utmost reward of daring would still be to dare. That you get to be a Union soldier, and you get to go into battle, and you get to be brave, and you get to make choices. And everybody forgets this is like a movie, that we get to start all over again. This is not the only time we're ever going to be here. If you think of 14 billion years that we know that the universe has been in existence, and we're here for 80, does that sound like we're eternal spirits? So I want you to kind of try to think, what if we show up in heaven and we go, woohoo, we get to do it again? I don't know if you guys know who Hunter Thomas is. He's the one that coined the one we weren't here to, oh, it's on there? Okay, we'll go to that. Okay, so the trial by existence in here goes over it. What if we are this eternal spirits and we get to make a choice where we are, and when we go back to heaven, we get to tell everybody what we've done and be back with the people we love and go, I want to do this again. I want another adventure. And my metaphor is that you're like a bunch of 10-year-olds waiting to go off a high dive. You're there shivering and you're waiting to go up there because you want to go off the high dive because it's exciting. So what if we can change our perspective? If this was true, if that we had a choice on where we came, and that we know that when we get done, we're going to go back and we have another choice to do something, would you view your life differently? I mean, people are so afraid to die that they forget to live. So what if we knew that it wasn't going to, in the end, it's going to be okay anyway. Whether you believe you're going to come back down, but in the end, you know you're going to be with this higher spirit. 95% of the people have voted. So Hunter S. Thompson, who's a crazy guy that was in the 60s, and I'm sure he doesn't remember the 60s, it says, life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, wow, what a ride. Isn't that what we really want our lives to be? And if we can get a bigger picture, that we don't just have 80 years and then we're done, and that we can take chances, we can dream bigger. That's what we came here for. So the hero's journey, if you've taken my classes before, you know Joseph Campbell. He was a philosopher and professor in the mid-20th century. He was a professor at Sarah Lawrence, and he was a philosophy professor, and he wanted to try to find a unique set of concepts that everybody in the whole world in all ages shared. And he went to all the indigenous tribes and the shamans, and he did all this research to say, what does every culture, there's got to be something every culture in the entire world in all time have shared in common. And he found it, and it's called the monomyth. It means there's only one myth that all of these cultures share, and he called it the hero's journey. And the hero's journey goes like this. We begin in our hometown. It's heaven, it's the Shire, it's our farm, it's our comfort zone, it's our job where we are right now. We start there, we always start there. So then we hear a call, we discover a passion, we felt compelled to go. So in Robert Frost's poem, he says that we have decided when we come down here, we're going to forget everything, because it wouldn't be an adventure if we didn't think this was real life and death. But the one thing that we will never forget is the thing that is supreme. We were all born with this passion, and that is the one thing that we will never forget, the thing that is supreme, the reason we came down here, the reason we decided to jump off the high dive. So we're in our hometown, or we're in heaven, or we're at a job that we're very comfortable with, and then we hear a call. We discover a passion. We feel compelled that we need to do something else. I think we've all been there. So what do? We leave this safe place. And once you get past the Shire, you've never been any farther. So what do? You start feeling fear. You've never been this way before. You don't know what's coming. So that's part of the hero's journey. We keep going because we know that this passion within us, and that's what I want all of you to discover, is the passion that's in your dream statement or your target statement. Because if you discover that, it doesn't matter the words we use. We need to discover the thing that is supreme. And when you do that, you're going to encounter dragons and obstacles and difficulties, and you're going to have to get through them. And the way that we're going to get through them is with our vibration. We are going to know that there's joy and that there's passion, and we're going to think of those things, and we're going to get to that level of vibration. Once you've slayed your dragons, you have revelations, and you become more aware of what's going on. And remember, everything cycles up. You can only believe a little bit more. Once you believe that, you're a little higher up the mountain. You can see more. You can believe a little bit more. There's transformations. You transform into something new, something different, because you know so much more than you did before. There's lessons learned. You have a chance to reflect on it. And you return to the safe place. You share this. You rest. And then you go again. And every culture and every time and every geographical location has done this. You come back, you rest, you share your experiences with the tribe, you teach them lessons, and then you go out again. And this is not one big, huge journey and you only do it once in your life. This is anything that you fear. This is anything that is new to you. This is anything that you want to do that you haven't done. We're going to go on many, many heroes' journeys. I gave a talk at the Dress for Success a couple weeks ago, and I told them how proud I was of them because they literally have trampled the terror barrier by deciding to do something different with their lives. And we talked about that's one of these rotations of the hero's journey. They decided to do different. They find mentors on the way. They break through this terror barrier. They learn something. They know they're a little bit stronger, and they go back and they rest. This is not a one-time deal. This is what we should be doing every week, every time that we have a new concept that we want to explore, a new passion that we want to explore. So we all do this, and if we're aware of it, remember, awareness is huge. And I didn't go over the reviews this week because we're going to go over them in these lessons. So awareness is huge. You've got to be aware of options and what's going on before you can do that. So there's an old saying, as above, so below. Anybody heard of that? Okay, so as above, in heaven, there's a divine purpose. And we become aware of that. We decide to come down here. We decide to take these chances. We decide to be brave. We decide to make choices to take society to a higher level, to have the universe expand. Remember, everything's expanding. Spirits are expanding. The universe is expanding. If all we do is we come down here once and we go up to heaven once and that's it, are we expanding? That goes against the laws of the universe. So as above, we're up there. We want to go on this journey. The journey is to jump off the high dive and come down here. We can't, we're afraid, we've never been here before, but no matter what, we always know that thing that is supreme inside of us. We slay dragons, we learn lessons, we have mentors, we learn more, we go back up to heaven, we rest, and we decide to go again. That's as above. So below, Joseph Campbell has proven that that is so true. Everybody, every culture does this hero's journey. So it just makes sense that if we do it here and we're growing and expanding, perhaps you can think about this big picture is that we're doing it in a spiritual realm instead of just a material realm. So we know our divine purpose. And that's what I just want you guys to work on, what your passion is. We become aware of it. That's what we're working on now. We stay in the now, which is what we talked about before. We have to pry open that small space that allows us to grow. And that space is silence. And that silence connects us to our higher self. And that's where the power comes. That's where the magic comes. When we pry open this space in our lives, when we give ourselves some time to respond to the outside world instead of react. Because if we react to the outside world, we're letting everything in the outside world control how we feel. And how we feel is the most important thing in the entire world, because that's our vibration. Remember, you don't want to be mad at somebody, because that's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The most important thing is your vibration, because that's what you attract. That's the level you're going to be at. We pry open those spaces. We use our whimper faculties to access the path. And I don't want anybody to, I'm going to go over the whimper faculties again. Will, imagination, memory, perception, intuition, and reason. And intuition is huge, and that's something that we don't pay a lot of attention to, but there is a still small voice that's talking to you. And if we can silence our mind, we can listen to that. And that's how we're going to access this path, this hero's journey. So we need to be grateful to be. And what does that mean? I used to hate the word surrender. Because if anybody knows me, I got my dukes up the whole time. I hated the word surrender until I realized it's not weak or failing. You surrender to the universe. You surrender to the present moment. You know, you get those dinosaurs that carry credit cards and you play with them. You're surrendering to what is going on right now. You're appreciating everything in your existence, because if you don't, this is the only way we can connect. So you've got to be, and be means staying in the present moment and surrendering to what there is. So a warrior uses everything in their vicinity, and they know where everything is, because that's what they're going to use to stay alive. You guys, most of us aren't alive. Most of us are just going through the motions. We need to be those now warriors, and we need to be brave and strong and tenacious. We need to pay attention to what's going on and grab those coincidences, because sooner or later, we're not going to be in a situation where that's going to be. So I want you to just take a few moments every day, breathe. I went outside and I grounded. I took my shoes off today and I grounded. My gosh, I feel so much better. So I want you to just surrender to the present moment. Don't fight it. Don't fight yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't say you're not worthy. Just be. Buddha said the joy of a lifetime is being who you are. You got to be who you are. We're here for a purpose. We've got this ego for a purpose. The joy of a lifetime is being who you are, because you don't get to be this forever. Our eternal spirits are there, but this is the one time we get to interact with this situation. So when you are acknowledging you're an eternal spirit, which I think most people can accept, and you acknowledge you have free will, which we have all been taught in any religious class we've been in, and if we understand right now that we have unlimited power you can access at will, and I'm telling you, it's there. So I was listening to one of my favorite people, Abraham Hicks, today. So she says, write. You're not writing this out like you're writing a letter to Santa Claus and you're going to mail it to the universe. And you aren't writing it to convince the universe this is what you want. Once you know what you want, that universe knows what it is, and it's got it waiting for you. You write to convince yourself that this is where you are. Writing allows you to feel each word that you're writing in cursive. And this unlimited power that I'm talking about is when you can align yourself, our ego, with this higher self, this vibration where we put everything. That's when the magic happens. That's where this unlimited power that you can access happens. If you only learn to meditate, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day. I don't know if you guys have tried it, but it really does kind of open this up to allow you to look at different things. So quiet your mind, bask in the present moment, and feel eternity. When you look at baby's eyes, you can see eternity. I mean, you can feel eternity. There are times, and it just comes on you, there are times that you feel eternity. This is the fun part. So we're going to go backwards in our lives.
Welcome back. I hope I stopped that at a place that you're going, hey, don't stop there, because I want to know some more stuff. Because next week, we're going to go backwards. We're going to actually figure out how we're going to claim this power that we've been talking about to become the hero in our own journey. But before I leave you today, I do want to introduce you to one of my students who was kind enough to come over and give us a testimonial as far as how this information has changed her life, where she started before she got this information, her journey through this information, and where she is now. And if you'll remember, we never get it wrong and we never get it done because we are always on this journey. So I want to introduce you to Chris McFarland, and I hope that you get some information out of this. Thanks.
We're talking about the hero's journey and how the law of attraction helps you get to that place in your life that you realize that you are the hero of your own story. And I'm here with Chris McFarland. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with me today. Chris has taken my programs before, and I asked her to be here and to kind of give you some information on how it has helped her in her journey in her life, as far as for her to understand that she is the star of her own story, that she is the hero of her own journey. So tell us where you were in your life before you found this information.
Okay, and thank you for having me here today. I was in a very negative place. I had lost my job of 25 years through downsizing. I'd just gotten divorced from my 20-year marriage. I was in a current position that I wasn't happy with. I didn't like the job, I didn't like the people. I was in a very negative spot, and I knew that I needed to change something because instinctively I knew that someplace within me I was a happy person.
But you didn't know how to get there.
I didn't know how to get there from that point of being so negative. And then I discovered you and your class on the law of attraction. It was geared more towards business.
It was based on Think and Grow Rich, right?
Yes.
Napoleon Hill's.
Yes. And so some amazing things happened after taking that first course with you. I had a paradigm shift in my thinking, the way that I felt energy, the way that I perceived myself, the way that I respected myself. And what happened is that following year, my business increased threefold.
Because of your attitude after you took this course.
It was all my attitude.
And
I would have loved to have pointed my finger at somebody else and said, you people.
It's your fault, but
It's your fault.
You realize you've got the power to be able to do that.
I realized I had the power.
And did this course also help you, like, with your relationship with your coworkers?
Absolutely. One of the things that this class helped me do, and when I talk about a paradigm shift, because it was Christmas time, and I thought, I'm not buying any of those people any gifts. I don't even like them. And then I thought, well, now, that's not a very kind spirit.
That's not part of the program.
That's not part of the program.
That's not what we're teaching you, Chris.
And so I thought, you know what? Everybody has value. There's something good about each one of these people that I work with. And so it made me sit down and think about how I valued each person. And I sent an email to everybody, and the response that I got back from them was amazing.
An email as far as what you valued about them.
This is what I value about you. This is what you bring to the table, and thank you. It was also about gratitude.
Gratitude is huge.
Gratitude was a huge part of this, and I was grateful. I found a way to be grateful for each one of them.
That's a wonderful insight.
And one of the things that I was so disgruntled about, it's a very small thing, but I like to say good morning. And the first person that I would see every morning when I would walk in, I would say good morning, and she would go, ugh. And so I had enough of a paradigm shift that in the mornings when I started walking in and she would growl at me, I growled back at her. And then we had this wonderful relationship and rapport because I growled back at her. That's what she needed. So I gave her what she needed.
So it helped your sales, and it helped your relationship personally.
Yes. I became more into a spot where I didn't feel that constant negative energy running through me. I found the gratitude. I found that there was a more positive current running through me.
And did you discover how responsible we are for our own conditions around us, that it's nobody else's fault that we're where we are?
Where I had to find a place that I could choose to be happy no matter where I was at.
Boy, that's a huge insight.
It was huge. That's what I mean when I say it was a huge paradigm shift.
So you got so happy, we're going to put it in these terms, you vibrated yourself out of that job.
I vibrated myself right out of that job.
Because you realized your value.
Yes.
And that they were not realizing your value.
I was able then to respect myself enough that I vibrated myself out of that job.
And so you've taken that program 3 or 4 times, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So every time you take it, do you see something different? Do you grow a little bit more?
Well, here's what happens is that you're able to hear it differently. I'm at a different place, and so, yes, Paula, I took your class 4 times, but each time I got something new out of it because I could hear things in a different way. I was at a higher vibration.
And that is such a huge opportunity to understand. Now, you also were able to take my new program that I teach, and you were one of my test subjects, and it's called Your Outrageous Life. Can you tell them how that's more of a personal development instead of the business one was really based on a business model? Can you tell them how that has changed your life since you took that?
Well, you learn to figure out that you're the hero of your own story, and that and I am responsible for my own well-being and happiness. But it also allowed me to think bigger, to be able to think bigger because of the groundwork that I've done in the previous classes. And so I was bold enough and brave enough, and it was, in my opinion, being bold and brave, that I left for 7 weeks.
You left the comfort zone.
I left my house.
You left the Shire. You left the farmhouse in Kansas. Literally, you left.
I was like a little hobbit, leaving the Shire.
So you've got on a journey.
I went on a 7-week journey, and one of my friends said, "Hey, why don't you blog?" And if I want to backtrack a little bit, I can say one of the things I've always wanted to do and I've never done, and it's write a book, because who wants to hear anything that I have to say? What do I have to say? Who's my audience? Who am I marketing this to? So I didn't do it. But a travel blog, that was a little bit different. It was like a baby step. Well, let's see if I can write, and if anybody enjoys anything that I have to say. And I'm kind of funny.
Well, she thinks she's funny. No, she's funny. So you went on the 7-week journey, and you wrote a blog on Facebook.
Yes.
And you got a lot of positive reaction.
I received a lot of positive feedback, enough so that I want to travel again, because I still think I have that book in me, but I'm still at that place that I don't know who I'm marketing to, what it is that I want to say. But a travel blog seems like an easy thing to do.
It's a step that you can take.
I'm leaving for another 2-month journey. I'm leaving the Shire. So I'm leaving, and I'll be writing and blogging about it.
And one of the things that I have been impressed with you is you figured out a way to make money, but not in the 9-to-5, square that we all think we have to do.
Right.
So you kind of thought outside the box and figured out a way to still give energy and get monetary value back. And are you happier doing this kind of stuff?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have an opportunity. Somebody that I used to work with came to me with an opportunity, and I thought about it. I thought, well, you know what? This is a way for me to make a lot of money pretty quick. And it's something that I did in my previous life. And I really sat and thought about it, and I thought, that's not what is going to bring me joy.
Oh, I love that.
And you're going to think I'm crazy. One of the things I love doing, and I've started doing it for friends, is I found out while I was on this 7-week journey, part of it was cleaning and organizing. My cousin has several properties, and it was cleaning and organizing as we went to each one of the properties. And it's kind of like when I see Christmas lights or see fireworks. It's like, it makes me so happy.
When you're done?
When I'm done, I can stand back and I absolutely Love it.
And you know that book, The Magic of Tidying Up, or
Oh
something?
my gosh, it's not magic.
It's Zen. It's like a philosophy, you know? It's
Yes.
more than anything else.
Yes.
So have you learned to trust the universe?
I've so learned to trust. You know what? I'm not even worried about it. I'm not even worried about where my next dime is coming from, because there are lots of dimes out there, and when you put that energy out into the universe, it's amazing what comes back.
You just gave me goosebumps.
Thank you.
So if you had some kind of a hint to tell people that are looking at this or trying to make a decision whether or not that they do want to take their lives to the next level, what would you tell them to do to help them make a decision to take their lives to the next level and take a course like this?
I don't even know that people think about taking your life to the next level. I think it's even more basic than that. I think it's more about, there's this underlying current of, I'm not really satisfied. There's some passion. How do you find the passion? Is there more? So I don't even know that people rationalize, I need to take my life to the next level. It's more that there's more out there.
And how do you get to that more?
And how do I get there? And that's what you help with.
Great. And so making a decision to take the course would be the first step.
Yes, that's the first step.
And then after you take the course, one of the things that I have beat into your brain forever is repetition, right? That you've got to listen to the information and do the homework.
Well, here's what happened after the first class I took. And we used to make jokes about, how I took the class 4 times, like I was a dunce or something, but that wasn't it, because you do need that. Because what I found out after I took the first class, and then you kind of tend to get away from what you learned. And so if you continue to do the work and do the repetition, it kind of sets it in your brain in a different kind of a way.
We internalize that information.
Yes.
And that's how we change our paradigms.
That's a good word.
That is a good word. That's how we change our paradigms. And that's
Yes.
how we change our lives.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris. You were wonderful, and I appreciate your time.
Paula, you've changed my life.
Oh, thank you. This is Chris McFarland, so go to chrismcfarland.com because her future travel blogs are going to be coming out, and I'm so excited to see where your life goes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I hope this information that we have talked about today has been illuminating for you, has been empowering for you, has maybe given you some concepts and some ideas to think about that you haven't thought about before. This information in this program is also available on my YouTube channel, so if you want to actually see the slides that we're talking about or see my lovely student as she's giving her testimonial, you can go to my YouTube channel, The Law of Attraction. It's under Paula Kidd Casey. I would love for you to like me on Facebook, The Law of Attraction. Follow me on Instagram. Send me an email. Tell me how you like this program. Give me ideas on future programs. Give me questions you would like to have me answer. You can reach me at paula@lawyerofattraction.com, which is my website. And I would love for you to give me an email, and I could talk to you in person as far as how much fun and how important this information is for you to take your life to the next level. And if I can get you into my program, Your Outrageous Life, I would absolutely love it. And as we always say that Ram Dass says, we are all just walking each other home. And until next week, have a wonderful week, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for joining Paula Kidd Casey on Lawyer of Attraction radio show. For more information about Paula programs and her book, please visit www.lawyerofattraction.com. Until next week, may you experience the magic of manifesting genuine abundance.